The fantastic-looking Dauntless impressed at PAX South with plans to head to PAX East. For Honor had a free-for-all open beta test leading up to launch this week. Cloud Pirates goes into early access with a brand new game mode, and Paragon decides to go all lovey-dovey. What's up, guys? James Blonde here with a weekly recap for gaming news and announcements of the week of February 13th, 2017. Sorry for the lack of recap last week. I was busy leveling up to Dad Blonde with this little guy. His official launch date was on February 5th after about a 24-hour stress test the day before, but both mom and baby are super healthy, so thanks for all the compliments and the support in the past. Starting out the news this week, Guild Wars 2 launched the next chapter in its Living World Season 3 story, known as The Head of the Snake, this past week on the 7th. This will be the 4th installment, and in this episode, players will be called to Queen Jenna's side to assist her in uncovering the corruption in Divinity's Reach and exposing the White Male's treachery. This update introduced the new Raid Wing, Bastion of the Penitent, and the Bloodstone Fen, which gives players 4 new bosses to face. The latest content, of course, is designed for level 80 characters, and you also have to own the Heart of Thorns expansion. That's sort of a given. It seems to be going on sale for like half off from time to time now, so you might want to keep a lookout for that. Next up, Neverwinter finally figured out not only a name for their new module, but also a launch date. The next major content update for Neverwinter has been named the Cloaked Ascendancy, and will continue the events of Storm King's Thunder in the northern reaches of Faerun. So the story goes, Geryon the Ascendant and former residents of the Cloak Tower have joined forces at the Cloaked Ascendancy and set their sights on destroying Neverwinter. Probably could have guessed that. This new update will feature a new adventure zone, like I mentioned in the past recap, called the River District, a new high-end dungeon, Spell Plague Caverns, the return of the original Spell Plague Caverns as a leveling dungeon, and a new skirmish, just to name a few things. Expect to see the new module live in-game on February 21st. On a similar note, I don't typically mention this one, but the Elder Scrolls Online announced its next major expansion recently, called Morrowind, which is still a ways out from release and is available to anyone who has a fat wallet. The ESO Morrowind expansion introduces the land of Vvardenfell, returning Elder Scrolls fans to the world of the Elder Scrolls 3, 700 years before the original Morrowind. Here, players will be able to experience a new class, the Warden, a nature magic user with a warbear companion. Now, that's pretty cool. The new PvP Battlegrounds mode will also allow players to compete in 4v4v4 arena battles in the Ashlands. The new expansion is bound to offer even more for players, especially at the price they're asking, and will welcome both new and old players with the One Tamriel system, allowing players to experience the game scaled to their level. The new expansion is set to release this coming June, on the 6th to be exact. They already have a launch date, and will start out as $39.99 for the standard edition if you already have the base game. Otherwise, it's $59.99 for both. And of course, they also offer the Digital Collector's Edition and Collector's Edition once again, both upgrade and non-upgrade versions of that for a bit more cash. For fans of the game, this is probably awesome news so far, but for more information, check the links in the description below. Next up, a little bit older, but still really cool news. PAX South brought even more attention to the new free-to-play co-op action RPG known as Dauntless. This game definitely has my attention, as you can probably agree with me just by seeing the trailer here. This game seems to be what I've always wanted in an RPG. It's almost like if Gigantic, Dark Souls, Monster Hunter, and Albion Online had a baby. Like I had a baby. The combat looks really clean, like the hitboxes actually make sense, and getting the heck out of the way is very important here. No hit numbers, just straight up visual damage taking on crazy world-consuming behemoths. That's basically what it's all about. And yeah, like I said, it's already confirmed free to play. It says so right on their teaser site. The game is developed by Phoenix Labs, and their next step is to gather more hype and attention at PAX East next month, which is probably closer to when we'll see some beta action. For now, you can sign up at playdauntless.com and be the first to know. I want to be the first to know. And of course, they've got to come out with something legit and show it off at PAX the one time I can't go. So I'll be keeping up with this one, so stay tuned for more details as they come around. Speaking of Gigantic, Motiga and PWE announced Gigantic's second major update headed to the game on February 23rd. This update is called the Eternal Dawn, and it is set to release in 5 weekly installments starting on the 23rd. First is a new hero, Zandora, a melee support hybrid, bringing the game's hero roster to 18. A competitive leaderboard will be added in on the website to help break down the stats and compare players against others. The next week, on March 2nd, the Storm Drake, a new creature, brings chain lightning attacks to the battlefield. And finally, on March 9th, 16th, and the 23rd, we'll be introduced to House Arion-themed skins for various heroes. Decent stuff to look forward to, but I'm really glad just to see something going on, at the very least. Another really good one to look out for if you're a fan of fighting games, this week in fact, is For Honor, a badass looking multiplayer combat game with epic action combat and territory control from Ubisoft. The game just went through its free-for-all cross-platform open beta this past week from the 9th through yesterday the 12th, leading up to its official launch on Valentine's Day, which is tomorrow, February 14th. Don't forget, it's an important day, and here's a reminder. This, of course, is a buy-to-play game, but the open beta was sort of a try-before-you-buy demo, so to speak. I had the chance to see the game in action last year at E3, and it was getting a lot of hype then, and still is now, apparently. I haven't really decided yet if this is a game that I'd like to play or not, but I don't know, still kind of open to it. Not sure how good I am at these style fighting games with, steep learning curves. Ubisoft has also revealed its Season Pass and upcoming content that's available at and after launch for the game. Of course, they feel that this game is in for the long haul and want to update and keep the content fresh for players along the way. The game is available for pre-order already, of course, otherwise it launches tomorrow on PC, PS4, and Xbox One. On a not-so-similar note, GWENT, the Witcher card game, is still in closed beta, but it seems to be making its moves towards open beta. This is an ITCG also introduced at E3 2016 based around the Witcher universe that has a fairly unique style to its board, its cards, and overall objective. The aim of this game is all about accumulating more points than your opponent, and the playing cards don't actually cost you any resources, but you must play one every turn, otherwise you have to choose to pass. And based on the way it's set up, this can be a little dicey. The video you see playing in the background is one that was recently released, showing off a complete round in about 60 seconds, and if you win 2 out of 3 of these rounds, you actually take the game. Plenty has been added to the game since its launch into closed beta, including new mechanics, new premium versions of cards, ranking mode, and dozens of balance changes. Now, before the open beta, which hasn't exactly been given a date just yet, they do plan on wiping accounts in order to get everyone on an equal playing field, but at the same time, they plan on doing a little something for those who helped shape the game in closed beta. So if you're already in, then expect some cool rewards. Again, this isn't something that I'm super stoked about, but it does seem to be a different take on the easy-to-play card game genre, so I figured I'd mention it to you guys as part of the news. You can still sign up for closed beta if you're interested, otherwise the open beta will come soon enough from what it seems. Also in closed beta, only as of recently, is My.com's new pirate airship MMO Cloud Pirates. As of February 9th, the early access phase of Cloud Pirates kicked off by the introduction of Update 1.1 Gold Rush, which also happens to be the name of the new Convoy game mode. Now for starters, Cloud Pirates lets you take command of your own decked out airship in which you fire your cannons at your enemies in order to blow them out of the sky. It's pretty straightforward there. You get to customize your fleet as you progress, you gain access to tons of unique upgrades and weapons as well as developing your crew and captain. And in customizing your ship with the various abilities, you will determine its class. So you can choose to be a tanky dreadnought style ship with a lot of armor, maybe some movement speed, or put in a sniper's roost for long-range fire at safe distances, as an example. The new convoy mode tasks a team of 7 Cloud Pirate captains with protecting a convoy carrying precious ore throughout a treacherous labyrinth of floating rocks and other obstacles. The second team of 7 tries to destroy this convoy in order to capture its contents. For now, the convoy mode will only be available during specific times, but later on, of course, it will be a selectable game mode. The Gold Rush gameplay trailer you see here gives a nice breakdown of the new mode. It's actually really cool looking. Looks like a fun game overall. They just had a stress test this past week on the 7th and 8th, but now it's back into closed beta early access that you do have to found to play, you know what that means, or luckily get your hands on a beta key in order to get into. We're probably still a little while out from open beta or launch. Kind of seems like they want to incorporate more content before then. On a slightly similar note, the new ultra-fast-paced racing-style MOBA known as Heavy Metal Machines is now in open beta on Steam, free to play. Kind of looks like a top-down Twisted Metal meets League of Legends, with a lot of MOBA aspects, or at least some MOBA aspects. Here we have 4v4 matches where you try and get a bomb to the other side of the map, destroying everyone in your path and trying not to run into the lava-covered walls. You get to choose your character, you get to pick a skin, and make your own personal Angel of Destruction on 4 wheels, as it says. In the game are 3 different roles. The Interceptors are specialized in preventing enemies from taking the bomb. They have strong push capability, or massive damage capabilities, or you can just, kamikaze them into the wall. They're ideal for taking the bomb away from the enemy in that regard. The support roles are focused on helping carriers deliver the bomb by repairing them on the fly, and transporters are the tanky experts designed to deliver the bomb to the enemy base with little to no resistance. The characters you choose from have 4 MOBA-like abilities that make them unique on top of that, so there's plenty of playstyle variety in the game already, with 12 machines so far. The game launched into open beta on Steam January 31st, and still has an overall mostly positive review status, which could be indicative of it being unique. Might have to check this one out. More MOBA news as Lucio brings his beats to Heroes of the Storm. Now Lucio drops the beat around the world and throughout the Nexus as a highly mobile support hero who constantly heals or increases the movement speed of all nearby allies. Lucio is able to attack enemies while moving, making him a really hard target to catch, and his weapon never needs to be reloaded, so he can be a constant pain in your ass if you're against him. A good example of this is Wall Ride, which increases his movement speed and lets him pass through units as long as he's moving next to a wall or a structure. He's able to swap between songs that give him an aura that will either heal or boost the movement speed on allies near him, and he can ramp that up with another ability that boosts the song that he's playing, giving it more benefits. One of his heroic abilities is just like his in Overwatch, giving his allies around him a temporary shield that decays over time, and his other option is called Reverse Amp that, when cast, applies a negative effect to the enemies that are near him, either slowing them or harming enemies depending on the song that he's playing. Now, I'm not usually one to play a support character, but he kind of seems like he's right up my alley. Next up, Paladins introduces its latest champion, Maeve, in its Open Beta 43 patch. Maeve seems to be a pretty standard assassin-style champion. She's able to double jump for increased mobility, dash forward to either close distance or strike, increase her movement speed temporarily by 80%, and heal herself while reducing her cooldowns with her Q ability. Her E puts her enemies asleep within a 300-foot radius. However, she can only see her enemies within a 30-foot radius during the 4 seconds it's active. Also, in this patch, we see limited-time Valentine's chests that unlock Valentine's-themed cosmetics and weapons for several characters. So, not a whole lot of changes in this patch, but to catch all the details, check out the official patch notes or overview video linked in the description below. Also from Hi-Rez, Smite introduced its latest god, Kuzenbo, the King Kappa, a melee magical guardian with high CC and defense. Now, I've got to say, Kuzenbo looks a lot like Slash from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but also, as you'll notice, has a lot of Bowser-like movements and abilities, including throwing a Kappa, or you might know it as a Koopa, if you're thinking Mario, at his enemies, and he's able to use his spiky shell as well as push through gods and minions. So yeah, Bowser from Mario is actually based off a Kappa. Look it up, the more you know. I gotta say, it does seem like it's a really fun to basically play as Bowser in Smite, and you know there's gonna be a skin for that. Now they just need to make a Mario skin for Vamana and Gold, or maybe Cupid. I think either would work. No, Vamana, because he, it gets big. Either way, he looks like a really fun guardian to play as. But speaking of skins, and for our last bit of news, in Paragon, the battlefield is full of love with the new Carnival of Hearts event running from February 7th through the 27th. The launch of version 37.1, the Carnival of Hearts includes 4 Valentine's-themed skins, the Love Machine Howitzer, Soulmate Decker, Love Punch Crunch, and Burning Heart Seraph. All of these can be purchased in the shop and are on sale for the event. As always, the skins and characters in Paragon look freaking amazing, so I figured it was worth sharing just to look at, if nothing else. Plus, it's Valentine's Day, almost. Share the love. Anyway, guys, that's about it for all the major news and announcements this week. Like always, thank you so much for your support. For more information on the news topics, check the links in the description below. Feel free to discuss the news or more news in the comments below. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video. But until next time, guys, that's going to be it for me. I'm James Blonde. See you out there, gamers.